Hello, my name is Mandy Evans. I work for Toyota UK at Burnaston, Derbyshire, and my role is part of the Young People Education team. We've put together this small presentation to support you in your preparation for that next stage of your educational career journey, the interview. Whatever your future holds for you at this stage, if you're year 11 or year 13, it is highly likely it will involve an interview at some point. That may be for a small part-time job, it may be for an apprenticeship, sixth form, college place or uni. Whatever it is, interviews form a key part of the recruitment process. Now the presentation itself, what I want to do is give you an idea of what that interview is and to allay any fears you may have. It's really important that your research and preparation is completed. This is key to a successful interview. I'm also going to talk to you about personal impressions, what interviewers are looking for, explain the interview structure and give you some top tips for securing a successful interview. Now the interview itself, you may have seen interviews on television, you may have had the opportunity to participate in a mock interview at school. If not, don't worry, because there's lots of tips we can give you and also there's lots of opportunity for you to practice. Now, an interview is very simply where an interviewer is trying to find more information out about the interviewee or the applicant. Now, it's normally a one-to-one conversation and you've already provided information about yourself, but what the interviewer will be looking for is to find out more about you. Look at examples. Look at how you've reacted in different situations. Normally they'll be face-to-face, but it's really important that you prepare in advance. Now there are different types of interview. Thinking about that informal interview, it may be for a paper round or a position at the corner shop. Informal, let's have a chat. Come in, we'll have a discussion about the job. Maybe take 5 or 10 minutes. Lots of employers and colleges now are screening applicants via the telephone. And that might be a short telephone interview asking you some questions around the information you have already provided. Video conferencing is becoming more popular, and one-to-one is the most common for your age group and is the most common interview that employers and education establishments hold. A panel interview is very often a second stage interview where you may meet the department and the people you're going to work with as well as human resources. A behavioural interview is very common at assessment centres, and this is where you will be put under pressure and put maybe in some role play so that your behaviour can be observed. The thing is, if you're not sure in advance what type of interview you are going to attend, always ask the question in advance. That'll help your preparation. Thinking about the job itself or the college place, always keep the advert for the job or the prospectus so you know what you're applying for. Keep a folder for every application, college or job that you might be applying for so you can keep all of your documentation together. It also tells you what you told them, because you might vary your CV and covering letters dependent upon the job you're applying for. Do your research about the company. You don't have to provide a dossier, but just some information. You can gain that from the internet, maybe local news sites, or maybe even your local library. Look at the job description and the specification. Now the job description is telling you all about the job. The specification is normally what they are looking for from an individual for that position. Do you meet it? Is there anything that you can do that will enhance it? Think of your examples. Think about your transferable skills. Teamworking is a good one. You may have been involved in a team at school. The job that you're applying for may involve some team working. Think of your examples. Preparation is really important. Practice is key. Now, whether you are in a position to have a mock interview at school, it may be you can ask a friend or an adult to help you. It'll feel strange at first, but practice makes perfect. Plan your route. How are you going to get there? Always plan to be there 15 minutes before the start of the interview. What are you going to wear? What you wear out with your friends in school will be different to what you wear for an interview. Dress smart. Again, ask the adults and teachers to support you if you're not sure. Don't be anxious about the interview. We've all been there, and you'll face many more interviews as you move through your career and educational journey. It's really important too to get a good night's sleep and have some breakfast, especially if it's an early interview, because you might find with nerves you don't feel so well. Thinking about what we're looking for, and Toyota are no different to other organisations. We're looking for people who have interesting stories, are going to ask us questions, can communicate well. We know that you're going to be nervous. It's our job to make sure that we can relax you. We're looking for people that have done some research and that also have prepared their examples in advance. Thinking about the interview then and answering questions. What you need to remember is that you are there because they have chosen you and they've probably had a lot of applications. So you've done really well to get to that stage. You would have matched elements of their selection criteria. Now, nothing to lose, but lots to gain. Now, interviews will vary. Your informal corner shop interview might be only 5 or 10 minutes, but a final interview can be as long as 60 minutes. But most will vary between 30 and 60 minutes. It's your opportunity to show them how fantastic you are. And you're the best person to share the story. Smiling is really important because if you smile, it will tell the interviewer that you are starting to relax and also enjoying the process. You may not know this, but most people will make their decisions and form impressions of you within the first 6 seconds of meeting you. You will never have the opportunity to make that first impression again. It may surprise you. Now, how do we form our conclusions? Well, thinking positively, we are looking for you in that interview to breathe, relax and speak clearly. Pause and listen, thinking before you speak. We want you to remain positive. We want you to be honest. And the use of examples is brilliant. If you think you're going too fast, just slow down. If you think you're not quite sure about the question, ask for the question again. But be ready to answer questions. But more importantly, be yourself and be definite no-nos for that interview. Don't be late. Plan to be there 15 minutes before the start of the interview. No gum, and make sure your phone is switched off the minute you walk into the reception or college. Hands out of pockets, please. No headphones. When you sit in your chair, make sure you sit with your back to the chair. Don't slouch and don't fidget with pens or anything you may have in your hand. There may be things that haven't gone the way you would have planned. Don't blame others for that. Think of reasons or situations or how you can change that. This happened, but from that I learned. Use things that go wrong as good examples to change. Don't fold your arms. Body language is really important. Give good eye contact. And as Benjamin Franklin would say, if you fail to plan, you're planning to fail. So preparation, thinking about the interview in advance is really important. You will have, I guess by now, lots of certificates, maybe newspaper clippings, items for organisations you've been involved with, like the Scout movement. You might have done Duke of Edinburgh. You might have participated in the NCS scheme. Whatever it is, get a folder, pop them all in there, even with a copy of your CV. This will give a picture of who you are and also support your application. And if you're a nurse, you can show this and say, well, here's an example of when I did my work experience. This is me working in a volunteering capacity in the local community. It can tell us a lot about the person if they have a portfolio. Now, thinking about that interview, when you arrive at the interview location, make sure, as I said, pop that phone away, get rid of any chewing gum, get your speakers, your headphones out of your ears. You'll be met, welcomed, and there'll be some introduction. There'll be an icebreaker. It's our job to make sure that you're relaxed. We might talk about the weather, how you got there. We might talk about an interest that we've spotted on your CV. We may have noticed you're a football fan, or we might talk about the recent fixtures at the weekend. It's all about building a rapport. It's all about making you feel at ease. There'll be then some information about the company, the job, or information about the college or the college course. What we're trying to do is build a picture up of you by asking you questions, asking for examples, and talking about your experience. There's different ways we can do that with open and closed questions. I'll talk about that a little later. There'll then be more detailed targeted questions, maybe asking you about how you dealt with different situations, or how would you deal with a type of situation. There'll be lots of opportunity for you to ask questions, but prepare them in advance, some standard stock questions. Also, they'll explain the next stages of the process. If they don't, ask that question. Now, the two types of questions I mentioned are open and closed. So an open question normally will start with what, when, why, how, etc. And this is where the interviewer is looking for more information, not one-word answers. A closed question is normally a no or yes answer. So one word. Listen to the question and answer appropriately. Have a practice in advance. So the next stage very often could be an assessment centre. This is where you will have a behavioural interview. You may be involved in some testing, maybe some mathematical, spatial awareness, or some comprehension testing, and you may be involved in a role play. During the assessment centre, you will be observed by a member of the team, and they will form a report of how you responded in the different situations. And don't forget, you are being tested. So all you need to be is yourself. Relax and do the best that you can. The next stage will probably be an interview. Again, it could be a panel interview where you might meet someone from the department you're going to work, or even head of faculty, or someone from human resources. Or it may just continue to be a one-to-one interview. But again, if you're not sure, ask in advance. Sometimes you might have a trial day. It could be within the college, it could be within the organisation, or for example, at the local corner shop. Come and have a try with us. That's a two-way thing to see if you both like what you are observing. Medical and references are the next stage. Not every organisation will complete a medical, but the references are key. This could be any previous employers, it could be someone who will give you a character reference from an organisation like the Scout or Guide movement. It may be someone that you've worked with as a work experience. Please don't give families references, that's a real no-no. Hopefully at this stage you'll then move to an offer. Now to summarise, your application or CV will secure you that interview. Preparation is really, really important, as is practice. It's also good if you understand why you're being interviewed, what you're being interviewed for, and how the format of the interview will work. You will feel much more relaxed. I can't stress enough that preparation is the key. Young people are very common in the fact that they don't tell you everything about themselves and they underestimate who they are. What you need to remember is that you are amazing and you've done many things at this stage already in your life. So make sure you talk about it. Now, you might not be successful at every interview you attend, but the key is to keep trying, keep practicing, make sure you do preparation. Hopefully this has helped you and give you a little bit more information about the interview, and thank you for listening.